All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashayak, Yahushai. Lord willing, brothers and sisters are enduring, waxing mightier and mightier through the Spirit, doing all they can do to make their calling and election sure in these last days, casting out Satan and every thought and imagination that exalts itself against Yahweh, Yahushai. Our brothers Carl with WFI St. Louis. I'm going to come at y'all with a quick exhortation through the Spirit. I believe the title of this is The Lord Didn't Come for the Mightiest Man. You know, because a lot of times we look with the natural eyes and with the carnal mind to think that a brother high in stature, a brother with a mighty beard, mighty staff, a loud voice, you know, that these are the men of God. Because we read about the men of valor in the scriptures, right? But we have to understand that the Most High chooses the lowly and the meek to confound the wise, right? So it's an exhortation to the little ones to know that hey, the Most High has an eye on you, and the Most High could use you, right? So we're gonna kind of hop into it, not be presumptuous. This is the book of Amos, chapter 7, and verse number 14. It says, "Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son." He's saying that I wasn't a man of renown, right? I didn't come from a royal stock that people know. When I walk through the city, oh, he's the son of such and such, and people fear and tremble. No, Amos was a lowly man. It says, but I was a herdman, meaning in today's term, you're a regular old Jake that working 9 to 5. He wasn't a millionaire. He wasn't an entrepreneur. He wasn't even what they say locally famous. He was just a regular man, and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. And the Lord took me as I followed the flock. And the Lord said unto me, go, prophesy unto my people Israel. Now that's a heavy thing, to be tasked with something of the Lord for the nation of people. Again, they don't know you. Your name holds no weight. They said that in the world. Your name don't hold no weight with me. Right? When you look at all these scholars and these high class debates that they have, you have to have weight under your belt. You have to have a reputation, a track record. They got to see the past debates and things that you had to see if you read them worthy to qualify. Amos is saying, well, I wasn't worthy of none of that. I didn't have any of that. But the Lord told me to step up to the plate. Now that's a big task. Because in the back of your mind, you're asking yourself, are you worthy to talk to these people? Will they even listen to you? I was chosen from nothing to go and do this. Right? And, you know, there's similar accounts with the story of Moses. Hey, Lord, I'm not eloquent in speech. You know, can you find someone else? And the Lord said, well, I didn't ask you of that. Don't I put these words in your mouth to speak these things? The Lord knows everything in His perfect timing, and what He has declared, it shall be. Right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. All right, forgive me, I'm driving. Book of Isaiah, chapter 40. I believe it's verse number 29. It says, He hath given power to the faint, and to them that have no might, He increases strength. So the Most High, He loves dealing with the lowly. He loves, with the world, they say, an underdog story. Because the Most High's name is able to be magnified in an underdog story. These are the people that you don't expect to win. The people that you don't expect to get the victory. Guess what? The Most High always gets the victory with these people. Even with the nation of Israel itself. Let's go to that real quick. And the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, in verse number 7. Or we'll start at 6. Class. It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth." Now we know that the Most High has separated us, sanctified us, and chosen us. Now, verse 7 and 8 is going to tell us why. "The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people." So the Most High God didn't choose us because we was the mightiest, the tallest, right? Like it says in the book of Ezekiel chapter 33. You look at the other nations, they're tall, right? It said they had thick bows. The other nations were, the statures were higher, right? It says, "For ye were the fewest of all people." That's spiritual. We were a new nation upon the earth, right? Israel is one of the youngest nations upon the face of the earth, if not the youngest, I believe. I believe Israel is one of the last nations to come out because they were at the Esau, right? So you got to understand that the Most High chose us being the fewest, feeble, right? We didn't really have a nation set up. We were pilgrims, sojourners upon the earth. We never got to a point where we were able to build up a nation with a land, right? Until the Most High led us out of Egypt into the wilderness, into the land of milk and honey. Then we were able to establish ourselves and become a nation and to grow. But before that, again, we were the fewest among people. So the Most High didn't glorify his name in a nation like Egypt. He didn't glorify his name in the Canaanites or the Philistines. When you look at it, it says that I believe that we were as ants compared to, and they were giants. Now they weren't literal giants. It's just that they were great in number and in stature. They stood tall above the rest. But again, the Most High doesn't look what carnal eyes as man does. Most men will say, "Oh, well, these are the mightiest men upon the face of the earth. They got to be God's chosen people. They're 8 foot tall, right?" But no, that's not how the Most High. That's not how the Most High operates. We got to read these things and how the Most High works. It says, "But because the Lord loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt." And again, the Most High hardened Pharaoh. He hardened Pharaoh's heart. Why? To magnify his name, to show great wonders in the world, and to know that this is my people, the apple of my eye, and you better not touch them. That's why the Most High did that. Because the Most High, again, let's just go to this real quick in 1 Corinthians, right? Chapter 3, and verse number 19. It says, "For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness." So he takes the wise in their own craftiness to do what? To overthrow them. Because their wisdom isn't wisdom with the Lord. Why? Because he knows more than you. Again, we was kind of going into this the other day. All these scientists have what? Hypothesis, theories. These are not concrete facts. There's a lot of mysteries on the earth. Now they can theorize how they think things came about, but you really don't know emphatically. And a lot of the times Esau is blatantly wrong. And they make up things to seem wiser than they are. Again, we was kind of talking about this. The moon landing. The boot print. Or the brothers in Chicago was talking about this. I was watching they live. They said the moon landed. You got the boot print that don't match the bottom of the sole of the astronaut shoe, right? The brother said, yeah, they took a trip, but it wasn't out of space. It was to L.A. They went to go film a movie. That's what they did. And they seemed wise to the people. But you mean to tell me at a time where technology is at its highest, you can't go back to the place that you went to when we're light years ahead of where we were, right? I don't need. I mean, come on, man. We gotta be realistic, and that's why the Most High confounds them with these things. It says, verse 20, and again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, and they are vain. What does that mean? They profit nothing. They don't mean a damn thing. The thoughts of the wise is the philosophers, the quote unquote wise sayings. And these wise sayings don't mean a damn thing. They're foolish. Because ultimately, where do we get our wisdom? From the Lord. He imparts wisdom unto us. That's why you can see what the brothers do at such a high level. With no school, we didn't need to go to cemetery school. That's what we call it, cemetery school. To get all the wisdom of the scriptures. Because the Most High has revealed these things unto his prophets, the servants. His servants, the prophets, like it. He's revealed these things unto us. That's why these things flow like a river, and we are able to harmonize these scriptures, whereas they wrestle with them, right? Because it was not given unto them, and the Most High has chose them to confound them. All right, so let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse number 7. Let me see. We'll start up a little bit. 6. It says, and it came to pass when they were come that he looked. Let me start up. I'm gonna start at verse 4. Slack it. Got new work in this app. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. So the Lord commanded Samuel to go anoint a new king. It says, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably? And he said, peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. Right? So he kind of went about, by the ordinance of the Lord to the city, to anoint this new king, but he did it under the guise of a sacrifice to the Lord, so that Saul wouldn't put him to death, because clearly Saul would have known what was going on. It says, and it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab, and he said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. This is Saul looking with the carnal eyes of a carnal man, like, damn, this brother stocky. What are you, about 6'6", standing kind of tall above the rest? My brother, he got chiseled jawline, right? Austere. That's the carnal mind of a man, right? It says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature. He may have been a comely man who was tall, swole, right? Anything that you could envision a mighty leader to look like, that's probably what this brother looked like. It says, because I have refused him, for the Lord Yahweh seeth not as man seeth. Means what? The Most High isn't deceived by your looks. The Most High sees the inward part of man. It says, for man looketh on the outward appearance, and we do. It says, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So the Most High knows your mind. And he can't get a kingdom over to wickedness. No, the Most High, he ordains, again, these things in its perfection. David is a man after the heart of the Lord. He's doing these things in sincerity. David really loves his people. He's really willing to die for the Lord. And again, we see that in further accounts when David, he essentially checked King Saul. Just keep it a bean, he checked King Saul when it came to Goliath. Y'all gonna let this uncircumcised Philistine speak against the army of the living God? And he kind of went in and saw, I believe they pulled him in. He like, man, if y'all ain't gonna do it, I go do it. And Saul, it was spiritual what Saul did. Saul took his armor and gave it to David. Now you gotta understand, Saul was above the rest. Saul was of a good favored countenance. They say his shoulders stood at the head of his people, meaning he was tall and he was comely. But what Saul did was give his armor to David. Now David isn't tall like the rest. That's why the Lord said, don't look at his countenance. So Saul essentially decrowned himself and gave it to David because he said, take my armor, my sword, and my shield. He essentially gave it all to David in that moment, spiritually. Right? So let's go back to this. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by and said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are all thy children here? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Jesse, Salakia, and he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. So he showed them all 7 of his sons. Now he didn't show the youngest. Now he showed them in order of what? More than likely what Samuel would have picked. From ranking on a carnal mind of the strongest to the weakest. It says, and he sent and brought him. Now he was ruddy and withal a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise and anoint him, for this is he. So they anointed the youngest. And again, David was small. Right? He wasn't the biggest of all his brothers. But again, the Most High chose him to magnify his name throughout the earth. To take over the position of being king and the ruler of Israel. Again, we can see that with the account of, even with Gideon. Gideon was what they would consider, he wasn't a man of high stature, wasn't a man of many accolades, but the Most High had chosen him. Gideon was so unsure and so fearful that he was asking the Lord for multiple signs, because like, oh, this just can't be. I'm nobody. But that's how the Most High magnifies his name. So the encouragement is, even though you may be a little one, right? Spiritually or physically, the Most High has not done away with you. The Most High says he will magnify his name in the meek and the lowly. And it says, let's just get this real quick. And what I want. Zechariah chapter 12 and verse number 8. That's what I want. Yep. It says, in that day the Lord defended the inhabitants of Jerusalem, right? And he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. And again, we seen what David did in war. slaying Goliath. It says Saul has slain his thousands, but David is 10,000s. David was a mighty man at war. And as David grew into his full strength, you know, of course, David wasn't a puny, scrawny man as they project in these movies, right? So even the feeble are going to be as David, and spiritually as well. It says, "In the house of David shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord before them." Right? So these are the things that the Most High has coming to the meek of the earth, to the little ones. Right? You have a spot. Again, not everybody's going to be the 144,000. You had a 1/3 made of men, women, and children. Chiefly those hunters, those are going to be the mighty men, right? But don't cast yourself out and overburden yourself, because you may see brothers that have 100-fold, or that may not be for you, right? But it don't mean it's over for you either. The Most High still has a plan for all the sheep, right? And you don't want to overthrow yourself because you think that you have to be on a certain level to make it. No, the Most High is dealing with each and every one of us on a different level. Me and brothers was talking about this after the overtime camp we had, right? That it's good to learn from one another because we all have different wisdom that the Most High has imparted unto us. No two brothers is alike. You may have similarities. You brothers may share a bit of the same spirit and a bit of the same likenesses, but ultimately, the Most High has created each and every one of us different and imparted different wisdom, different talents, and different understanding to each and every one of us. And it's our duty to magnify it to the best of our ability. Again, a brother's magnification could be scribal work. That's kind of behind the scenes, but it's very, very important. He may not get the recognition, but guess what? The Most High sees it. He's not the brother's face that you see plastered everywhere, but the Most High sees it. The Most High loves silent work. That's why he said in let's get this real quick. Shalaki, in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse number, we'll start at 3. It says, "But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth." Meaning, don't show these things to the world because it's not meant for them to see. Actually, let's start at verse number 2. It says, "Therefore, when thou doest alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogue and in the streets." Meaning, you're putting it on what they do now, social media. Oh, we about to go give to the homeless. You on live, giving out. It's insincere. It says that they make, Slakia, as they do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. You want to know what the reward is? The glory of men. We don't want our glory to be of men. We want it to be of the Lord. It says, "But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thy alms may be in secret, and that thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly." So that man that's putting in a lot of brick and work behind scenes, that brother is well favored with the Lord. That's what the Most High is looking for. So it's, again, sometimes the man that's seen a lot is the man that may not be there. Now, that's not to count those men out, because you have a lot of mighty elder men that they're the face of this community. They've put in a lot of work and labor. Most High willing, they are the elect. They deserve that from putting in so much work as they put in from the 80s to the 90s and the early 2000s. And even still putting in to this day. Most High willing, they endure to the end and be a part of that hopeful elect. That would be beautiful for them brothers. But guess what? Those men that want to be seen, those men that you can see, then you kind of trying too hard. You forcing it. That ain't you. The Most High sees that. He sees it in even when we don't see it, the Most High sees it. That's why we have to let our life be sincere and let the Most High reward us. They have the reward. Again, is to be seen of men. But we're surely going to have our reward. So keep putting in your brick, whether you're being seen, whether you're having that acknowledgement, because guess what? The Most High, the angels, and Yahweh see it. And it is being acknowledged. Right? But with that, I'm going to close up, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach Yahushai, Kwam Yashala, Shalom.